Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is it, guys. After reviewing 27 movies, this is the final review for 31 Days of Horror. And just before I talk about the movie I'm going to be reviewing, I just want to tell you guys that I've really had a lot of fun doing this series. I've tried to stay as consistent as possible. I know I did not get to review 31 films, but it doesn't matter. I at least got to review, well, hopefully it doesn't matter to you guys because I personally got to review most of the ones I really wanted to. Some of the ones I didn't review, I will do next year. I won't not be doing 31 Days of Horror next year because I can't do it. It's too crazy. I want to do 31 days, but I can't do it. So it's probably not going to happen next year. It's just something that I don't have the time to do, and there's just like so much I do, after school, and so much that comes up during the week that was just out of my control. And I'm sorry that I couldn't stay as consistent as I could, guys, but nevertheless, let's get to the final review. And of course, it will be for the final Evil Dead movie. Well, at least the final thing in the Evil Dead series before Ash vs. Evil Dead, of course. And that is the 1992 horror comedy Army of Darkness. Yes, I didn't show the covers for these two films because they're really shitty. I mean, do you really want me to hold that up? No, I don't think so. I mean, they really look bad. At least my library put this actual cover on. I was obviously really looking forward to Army of Darkness. Evil Dead 2 was a really fun movie. I really loved it. It was by far my favorite of the franchise. I thought it was 10 times better than The Evil Dead. I was really expecting this movie to be a really great conclusion, and I was hoping it would be something really great. However, my only thing with this movie is that I know they're not counting it in Ash vs. Evil Dead, so I technically didn't even need to watch this movie, because in Ash vs. Evil Dead, they're pretending this movie doesn't exist. If you guys have seen anything, I heard that Sam Raimi could not obtain the rights to this movie, so because of that, I guess it's because maybe it's by like a different studio or something. I don't know. For whatever reason, they did not have the rights to this movie, and they're not going to count it in the series. So you'll never hear this discussed. But I was definitely looking forward to Army of Darkness, and it really didn't disappoint at all. I think Army of Darkness is a very good conclusion. It is the weakest of the three films, in my personal opinion. I'll talk about why, but overall, I still think it is a great movie and a very good conclusion. So, the plot to Army of Darkness is, again, really simple. That's something I love about the Evil Dead films, that the plots are really simple, and they're not hard to understand at all. Basically, as we know, at the end of Evil Dead 2, Ash was pulled through this time portal to 1300 AD, and he's almost captured by Lord Arthur's men because they think he's an agent for Duke Henry, but eventually he does tell them, look, I don't even know who that is, and he is eventually approached by the Wise Man, who basically is like Father Time. That's kind of what I see him as, and he basically tells Ash that the only way he can return to his time is to retrieve the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of Magical Powers, and that's the only way he can get back. So the rest of the movie is basically Ash doing exactly that. He has to do whatever he can to get to that book, but he also starts to feel close in this world and starts to feel like maybe he is a part of this world and kind of is a bit conflicted with really what to do, and that basically is the plot of Army of Darkness. And I think that's a really great plot. Again, it's a really simple plot, but that's something that makes these movies really good, is that they're really simple, and it's something that I thought they did very well to these movies. The acting in this movie, again, is fantastic. I mean, the acting as a whole, as I told you guys, is really great. And Bruce Campbell, once again, is awesome as Ash. He really, after Evil Dead 2, I think he really got into this character. And this is the movie where Ash is a hero. He's in Evil Dead, he really wasn't much of a character. In Evil Dead 2, he was kind of unconfident and scared the whole movie and kind of building up to that badass. In this movie, he is a full-fledged badass. That's all he is throughout this movie. He is awesome. He is by far the leader of this movie. He carries it perfectly, and you really see him as a true hero. Though he's not the smartest guy ever, he does make some stupid decisions. He still is a hero. He's willing to take out these, deadites. He's willing to. I mean, he has a chainsaw for a hand. You can't really not say he's a hero. Like, I don't know how you can't say this guy's a badass when you have a chainsaw for a right hand. I mean, that's fucking awesome that he does. And I still love the way they did that in this movie. But I thought he was awesome in this movie. They did some really cool things with Ash. They introduced Evil Ash as well in this movie, which is as hilarious as you can imagine. There's some hilarious scenes with Ash just like fighting with himself. It is hilarious to watch, and Bruce Campbell was just having so much fun with this movie. I loved how much we got into this character. They even give him more of a character in this movie. Like, there's this great monologue in the very beginning of the movie where we realize that he worked at this, like, retail store, like, this supermarket place, basically. That's where he worked with, with Linda, and it's kind of a sad scene, but it's also a really great scene because it really brings his character full circle. And I definitely really love that. But Bruce Campbell, of course, is awesome, and he continues to be the best thing about these movies. I mean, there's so many great things about these movies, but he definitely is one of the best things about them. My only real complaint with this movie is I feel like some of the other characters just weren't that interesting. Like, for example, Embeth Davidis as Sheila is a good character. It's just I didn't find her character that compelling. She's basically the love interest of Ash in this movie. And it's not that I thought she was a bad character, it's just that I felt she was just a damsel in distress. That's really all she is. She was a love interest for Ash, and she was a damsel in distress. And I really wasn't as big as a fan of her character as I wanted to be. It wasn't that I didn't like her character, it's just I felt like they could have done more with her that they didn't do. She wasn't bad in the movie by any means. I just felt like she was a bit underused. However, I thought Marcus Gilbert as Lord Arthur and Ian Abercrombie as Wise Men were all very good. And it's really cool to see Ash using these modern weapons in medieval times. He refers to the shotgun as boomstick, and I think that's awesome. And the chainsaw as well. It's just awesome stuff. The way he's talking. Some of the funniest stuff about this movie is just these two characters as a whole. You have someone who's in medieval times, and you have Ash who's in modern times, and he's talking like a modern person, and then you have them talking like they're in medieval times. It's really cool the way they did that, and I really love that. Now, they're directed by Sam Raimi. Again, I really commend. He continues to be another one of the best things about these movies. It really helps that Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi are like best friends in real life because, Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi really go hand in hand together for all these movies. They're really something that make these movies as good as they are. The thing with Sam Raimi in this movie is that I like is that this movie really is not a horror movie at all. Like, the second movie had horror, was still a horror movie. This one really isn't. This is more of just a fun adventure. That's really all this is. There is some combat in this movie, but that's really all it is. It's not really scary. It's more of just combat, and I love that. And plus, he did a lot more with the comedy, even more than Evil Dead 2. I think this one was even more of a comedy than Evil Dead 2 was, and I think that's great. The way that he continues to expand the genres and just do more and more of the series shows that this is not just another horror franchise. He can do a lot more with it. He can, really do whatever he want with it at this point. I love that basically Sam Raimi just did whatever the fuck he wanted with this movie, and I think that's awesome that he did that. I love his directing. He did a great job, and the tone is very wacky. Honestly, that's the tone. It's a very wacky film. It never goes too dark. This is probably the one movie that never really goes dark. There's really no dark moments or really that serious of moments in this movie, and I definitely really love that. It's probably the most fun out of I still think Evil Dead 2 is the most fun of the three, but this one is also very fun. I definitely love that about the movie, definitely. The screenplay is so good, though. This by far has the best, I think, most quotable lines of any of the Army of Darkness, of any of the Evil Dead films. Of course, Evil Dead had the groovy catchphrase. I forgot to talk about that in Evil Dead 2. Such an awesome catchphrase. But this, of course, had Hail to the King, which we will talk about that in a second. I definitely do want to talk about Hail to the King in a second. But I think the writing was so good to this movie. Again, it's hilarious to see Ash just be his modern goofy self, and there's so many things that he gets into just trying to find this book. It's very funny. I definitely really liked it, but I also liked how much was at stake this time. I mean, there's so many times where you think things are going to go well for Ash, and then it just doesn't go well, and things have to, he has to assemble this whole army, and it's really interesting. I definitely like seeing that in this movie. I really like seeing Ash step forward and be a full-fledged hero in this movie. And, in the first movie, he didn't really get to do that in the first two films. He did at the end of the second film, but in this one, he's so confident at this point that he is a full-fledged hero, and he pretty much just lives to kill these Deadites. That's what he loves to do, and I think that's awesome they did that in this movie. It's one of my favorite things about this movie by far. And Danny Elfman's score is obviously great to this movie. It really sounds like something like right out of Lord of the Rings or right out of Gladiator, any kind of medieval film that you've seen. It very much feels that way, and I love the medieval feel of this movie. You definitely get that adventure, fun feel, and I love that. They did a very good job with that. The cinematography is beautiful, honestly. Probably of the three films, this was the best cinematography. Not probably just because it was 1992. There was more they could do with it. Again, they had an even bigger budget this one. I mean, look at this. You could tell the locations, the scenery. It just looks beautiful. Every shot in this movie looks amazing. Evil Dead 2 had some great shots. So did Evil Dead. But what they've really done cinematography in this movie is amazing, and by far the best cinematography of the three movies. Really great cinematography, I have to say. The score by Danny Elfman, like I said, is obviously great. I just talked about that. But the editing, I also thought was very good to this movie. It's a very fast paced movie. It goes by like that. I was into it the whole time. There really wasn't a time where I wasn't into it. I thought they handled it very, very well, I have to say. I will say I did feel at some points they did deviate away from they focused more on Ash getting the book and not as much on the other characters, which I found just kind of one note and kind of just there. But because this is Ash's movie and Ash's story overall, it wasn't too much of a complaint because of how into the movie and how because of how into the movie I was and how much fun I was having. So I really didn't have too many complaints with that at all. And then the now let's get to the ending of this movie, which is very interesting because the ending of this movie is the two endings of this movie are very, very different. If you guys have not seen the endings of this movie, I'm not going to spoil either of them for you because I think they're both equally great. I think both endings are really good, but I want to talk about the original ending first because that's the ending that I heard about. I remember I was on Watch Mojo. I saw them doing a top 10 list on this movie, and I saw that they talked about the original ending. Now, the original ending, of course, Ash is supposed to take only 6 drops. He swallows 7 drops, which is totally something that Ash would do. I could understand that, but he wakes up in a post-apocalyptic future, and I can understand why they wanted to do that, because of course, Evil Dead 2 ended that way. But this was supposed to be the definitive conclusion to the series. This seemed like it was the final chapter, and I feel like that was kind of just being like, there's gonna be a fourth one where, I felt like they were trying to end, save it for a sequel, and it really, I didn't think was necessary for this movie. Because of how fun the movie was, that dark ending did not really go with this movie. The ending of this movie, I think, is pretty perfect, with him in the present, and him at S-Mart, and, him basically talking that us realizing he's talking to this fellow employee at his job, and he's working, at a hardware store, and, then of course there's that final deadite that he has to take down, and then he has his famous line, he might not be a king, but he's like, hail to the king, and then he kisses the girl, and I thought that was the perfect way in the movie. I definitely really loved that. I think that really worked well with Ash's character because it shows how much he has overcome. He's not afraid of these deadites. He's not even really mildly scared by them or startled by them. He's ready to take them down like that. He's ready to do whatever he can to stop them, and I love the way the movie ended because now he's ended the threat. It's awesome, and I think that was the perfect way to end this movie. So I personally didn't have a complaint with that. But overall, guys, Army of Darkness, it's just a lot of fun. It's a really fun movie. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. It's a lot of fun to watch. Definitely has the most epic feel of the three movies because of the medieval feel here. But like I said, because some of the characters are one note, I was a bit disappointed by that. But I am still going to give Army of Darkness a 4.5 out of 5 or an A minus. I definitely really love these movies. All three of these movies as a whole is a fantastic trilogy. Fantastic trilogy. I can't wait to see what happens in Ash vs. Evil Dead. I know that's going to be amazing. And that is it, guys. That is it for 31 Days of Horror. And like I said, I have had a great time reviewing all these movies to you guys, just getting to see some of the best horror movies of all time, definitely, especially like The Fly, things like that. I was definitely looking forward to watching those, and a lot of them really didn't disappoint. I only watched one really disappointing movie, actually two really disappointing movies, and that's really good. I'm glad that there were only like two really disappointing ones, because most of them were pretty good. I think I picked some really good ones overall, and I just really have loved reviewing these horror movies to you guys. It did get a bit, I did think it got a bit too much at times. Like I said, I don't want to do it next year because I just feel it's very overwhelming. It definitely did get overwhelming towards the end. I tried to do this, as much as I could, even though it did get a bit, even though I probably did deviate away from it a bit. I think for the most part, I was pretty consistent, and I'm very happy that I did these reviews for you guys. But that's basically it for 30 Days of Horror and for this review. Let me know what you guys saw of this movie and of the Evil Dead movies in general. Which is your favorite? Do you like Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2? Do you like the Evil Dead? Do you like Evil Dead 2? Or do you like Army of Darkness? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And also tell me what you think of 31 Days of Horror in general. If you'd love to give me recommendations for horror movies next year, I think that'd be really great. You guys can private message me that. Sorry my Evil Dead 2 review was in 2 parts, but that's basically it for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, I have loved doing 31 Days of Horror, and I will definitely be reviewing some form of Halloween movies next year. I'll probably do something with Christmas this year. Probably not much with that. I'll probably review a few here and there, but that's basically this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and because of 31 Days of Horror now being over, I will be able to catch up on 2015 movies. I know I'm very behind with that, But my next review will definitely be for the series premiere of Ash vs. Evil Dead. I cannot wait for it. I know it's going to be awesome, and I will definitely see you guys for that. And also, guys, I forgot to say, because of the endings of the two movies, I think that's really the main reason why they're not counting it for Ash vs. Evil Dead, because it really is open to your opinion. Whichever ending you prefer, I think is fine. I personally prefer the theatrical ending, but if you guys prefer the alternate, I can understand that. But overall, guys, this is my review. Hope you are enjoying it. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for the series premiere of Ash vs. Evil Dead, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.